There's been great practice weeks and bad performances, and poor practice weeks and great performances over the 21 years of my career, but it wasn't the best practice week, so we got to practice in the elements better, and the execution, again, just wasn't where it was.
The Steelers scored once, then everything stopped. Nothing worked after that. Everyone is asking the same thing. Why did this team fall apart so fast? The Pittsburgh Steelers walked into Buffalo hoping to turn their season around, but what unfolded felt like another chapter in a story fans have been struggling to understand all year. A 26-7 defeat at the hands of the Bills did more than dent the standings. It exposed every weakness that has been simmering beneath the surface. It raised new questions about the offense, it highlighted familiar frustrations, and it left the fan base wondering what direction this team is truly heading in. The afternoon began with a little hope. The Steelers found the end zone early, and for a brief moment, it looked like this game might play out differently than the previous losses that have piled up across the last several weeks. But after that opening spark, everything collapsed. The offense did not score a single point for the rest of the game. Buffalo's defense tightened, Pittsburgh lost its rhythm, and the Bills took complete control, scoring not just offensively but defensively as well. Two of the Bills' touchdowns came directly from the defense. For a team already struggling to gain momentum, that was the kind of gut punch that can knock the wind out of an entire sideline. Aaron Rodgers completed 18 of 28 passes. Those numbers might look steady on paper, but the yardage tells the real story. Only 147 yards through the air, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The veteran quarterback has built a career on precision, timing, and creativity, yet none of that emerged against Buffalo. Every throw felt pressured. Every drive felt tighter than it should. The offense looked trapped in a shell. It was as if the pieces do not quite fit together, no matter how hard the coaching staff tries to pull something out of the playbook. The Bills' defense deserves credit. They disrupted rhythm, confused coverages, and consistently forced Rodgers into uncomfortable decisions. They won the line of scrimmage more often than not. Their pressure turned into points, and their physicality wore down Pittsburgh's receivers. But the Steelers contributed to their own frustration by failing to adjust. Too many drives stalled. Too many possessions felt directionless. Too many chances ended before they ever began. Meanwhile, the Steelers' defense did manage to create 2 turnovers. That should have been a sign of a competitive afternoon. Those moments should have been opportunities for momentum swings. But each takeaway was wasted by an offense that could not convert field position into points. It felt like watching 2 separate teams wearing the same uniform. One side was fighting to keep the game alive. The other kept giving it away. And looming over the entire game was the presence of Josh Allen. Few quarterbacks in the league can attack a defense through the air and on the ground the way he does. Pittsburgh tried to contain him, but Allen played with the calm and command he has become known for. His dual threat ability opened lanes. His decision-making forced the Steelers to guess. When they guessed wrong, he made them pay. When they guessed right, he still found ways to extend plays, roll out of trouble, or break for first downs that drained the energy from Pittsburgh's defenders. With every successful play the Bills made, the Steelers looked more drained. This loss is not just another number in the standings, it is the 5th defeat in the last 7 games. A team that began the season with real confidence and clear identity now finds itself at 6 wins and 6 losses. That is not a disaster, but it is far from what Steelers fans expect. At one point, the Steelers held first place in the AFC North. Now that position is gone. The gap between expectations and reality is growing larger every week. The biggest issue continues to be the offense. Anyone watching this team can see that something is missing. Sometimes it is consistency, sometimes it is protection, sometimes it is creativity. The run game flashes but does not dominate. The passing game exists but does not intimidate opponents. There are moments where the offense looks like it can move the ball, but they vanish too quickly. The struggles are not limited to a single position. It is a system issue, a connection issue, and a confidence issue. Rodgers is a future Hall of Famer. He can read defenses as well as anyone in the sport, but even the greatest quarterbacks need help. His receivers must win routes. His line must hold up. The play calling must put him in favorable situations. Against Buffalo, none of those things happen consistently. The Bills forced the Steelers to play from behind early, and the offense never adjusted to the tempo of the game. Coaching deserves part of the conversation as well. A team that starts strong but collapses for the remainder of the game is often a team that loses the battle of adjustments. Buffalo shifted their coverage looks, they added pressure in specific downs. They forced Pittsburgh's offense into predictable patterns. The Steelers did not counter effectively. Every adjustment felt a step too slow. Every response seemed reactive instead of proactive. When a team struggles this consistently, it begins to affect the energy inside the locker room. Players start pressing. Coaches begin searching for solutions that may not exist in a single week. Fans grow restless. The media begins questioning the long-term plan. The pressure builds. And this is the moment where a season can slip away if leadership does not take control. The Steelers still have talent. Their defense, despite injuries and inconsistency, remains capable of game-changing plays. Their offense has players who can be explosive when everything clicks. Their coaching staff has experience, but talent only matters when it turns into production. At 6 wins and 6 losses, the margin for error is shrinking. The AFC playoff picture is tightening. Every game from here forward matters. Every mistake becomes magnified. One of the most troubling patterns is the team's inability to respond when adversity hits early. Once Buffalo took control, Pittsburgh never found the emotional spark needed to swing momentum back. That has been a recurring theme. When the Steelers fall behind, they struggle to claw their way out. When they start slow, they often stay slow. The identity that once defined Pittsburgh physicality, toughness, and resilience now appears hidden behind inconsistent play. This moment demands honesty from the team. They must look at what is not working. They must commit to growth. They must fix the communication breakdowns that are happening on the field. They must support Rodgers with a scheme that highlights his strengths. They must return to the basics that once made this franchise one of the most feared in football. The players know it, the coaches know it, the fans certainly know it. From the outside, it looks like a team standing at a crossroads. One path leads to a late-season surge that pulls them back into playoff contention. The other leads to a frustrating finish and an off-season full of questions. The defense can only carry this team so far. For years, Pittsburgh has built its identity on defense-first principles, but the modern NFL requires balance. A team cannot rely on turnovers alone. A team cannot expect to win when its offense fails to score for 3 full quarters. A team cannot hope to compete against top-level quarterbacks like Josh Allen without matching that intensity on the other side of the ball. There were moments on Sunday that showed glimpses of what this team could be. The early touchdown, the turnovers, a few well-executed drives, but glimpses will not save a season. Consistency will. Production will. Confidence will. And right now, those qualities appear inconsistent at best. This loss is not the end of the Steelers' season, but it is a warning. A loud one, a clear one, a message that something must change. Whether that change comes from the playbook, the mindset, the personnel combinations, or the preparation process remains to be seen. But doing nothing is not an option. Nobody in the AFC North is slowing down, the division is unforgiving, the schedule is unforgiving, and this team must rise to meet that challenge. What happens next will define their year. Will they regroup? Will they rediscover the spark that carried them to early success? Will Rodgers find the rhythm that turns short gains into long drives? Will the defense stay strong enough to keep the team alive while the offense works through its issues? The answers will reveal themselves soon enough. For now, the focus must be on accountability and improvement. Nobody can sugarcoat a 26-7 loss. Nobody can ignore the pattern of recent defeats. Nobody can pretend that this team is performing to its full potential. But football seasons are full of turning points. This loss can either break the Steelers or wake them up. The next few weeks will show which outcome this team chooses. The fans will keep watching, the players will keep fighting, the coaches will keep searching for solutions, and somewhere within all of this struggle lies the opportunity for redemption. Every great team faces adversity. The question is how they respond. Right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers stand at a defining moment, and the league is waiting to see what they do next.